Betting friends and investors, welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to explain the reasons why I've placed two long-term bets in Serie, Lazio and Bologna to finish in the top 4 of the Italian Championship. But before we dive in, I want to remind you to always request a tipster's betting history before following their picks to make sure they are profitable on the long run. You can check my personal record since 2020, which is linked in the video description. That being said, let's get started with the analysis. So here's the Serie standings after 29 games out of 38, and I started with the assumption that Inter, Napoli and Atalanta, given their point totals, will almost certainly finish in the top 4, which are the spots that directly qualify for the Champions League in Italy, and therefore there's only one spot left to be shared among the other teams. Given their point stalling, and that there are only 9 games left in the season, I have determined that the teams with a realistic chance of finishing fourth are Bologna, Juventus, Lazio, Roma, Fiorentina and AC Milan. Now that we've set the foundations, let's take a look at the advanced statistics of these teams. And what we notice is that most of them are fairly equal, except for Fiorentina. For example, in terms of possession, they are the only team below 50%. They are significantly behind in progressive passes, which are passes helping a team advancing towards the opponent's goal by 9 meters. In terms of pass completion percentage, we see that Fiorentina is less efficient in the build-up phase compared to its competitors. Regarding offensive build-up quality in general, we have several stats that show Fiorentina is a step below. They touch far fewer balls in the opponent's 30-meter zone. The same is true for balls touched in the opponent's penalty area. They are the only team below 600. In terms of shots on target, they are not miles away, but they are still last. For actions leading to shots per 90 minutes, they are also considerably behind the others. So Fiorentina is a bit of an outlier among these teams, and I consider that with such a performance gap, the probability of them finishing in the top 4 is extremely low. Therefore, I exclude them from the potential contenders for fourth place. Next, I looked at the schedules of each team and simulated the number of points Bologna, Juventus, Lazio, Roma and AC Milan could have by the end of the season. And out of all the teams, Juventus has the most favorable schedule. They've already played all their games against the top 3 teams, and they have a few games left against bottom table teams fighting relegation. So Juventus seems very well positioned to finish fourth, and according to my small simulations, they are indeed the team that finishes with the most points. However, they are coming off 2 big defeats in a row, which led to Thiago's Moura dismissal. And when a new coach takes over a team, you never know if the results will improve. And I think Juventus could lose points if the new coach doesn't find the right formula rapidly. So there's a scenario where Bologna and Lazio could finish ahead of Juventus because, even though they have tougher schedules, according to my simulation, they would finish with a point total very close to Juventus. For Roma and AC Milan, they have fallen too far behind in terms of points, in my opinion. It's very unlikely that they will finish in the top 4. In terms of odds, Juventus finishing in the top 4 is priced at 150, meaning bookmakers think Juventus will finish in the top 4 66% of the time. The odds for Lazio and Bologna are 5 and 650 respectively, so 20% chance for Lazio to finish in the top 4 and 15% for Bologna. I think these are good odds, especially for Bologna. So let's compare the bookmaker probabilities with the predictions from 2 sites that simulate the final Serie standings. The first source is Opta, the global leader in sports statistics, which gives Juventus 50% chance of finishing in the top 4, while bookmakers predict a 66% chance. Lazio is given a 19% chance, aligning closely with the bookmakers' 20%, and Bologna is given a 24% chance, notably higher than the bookmakers' 15% estimate. According to Football Myths data, they are even more pessimistic about Juventus, with only a 43% chance of making it, while Lazio would reach the top 4 17% of the time and Bologna 31% of the time. So what we can conclude is that these sites are in line with my own feelings. Juventus has a lower chance of finishing in the top 4 than we might think, meaning they are a bit overrated by the bookies, and on the other hand, Lazio and especially Bologna are underestimated by the market. So that's why I've placed 0.5% of my betting capital on Lazio finishing in the top 4, and the same amount on Bologna, which are value adds from my experience, meaning they should be profitable in the long run. Depending on the country you live in, the odds you see for these bets could vary, and if you have better odds on your own bookmakers, don't hesitate to place your bets on them. So now I can hear you saying, but why are you betting on 2 different teams when you said at the beginning that there's only one spot for the top 4? Well, according to my analysis, the odds for both teams are value, and if we win one of the 2 bets, we will win a nice sum of money. If you decide to follow my bets, and if you have a capital of 10,000 euros, for example, that means you place 50 euros on Lazio and 50% on Bologna. And you adjust your stakes according to your capital. It's very important. We work with what we have, my friends. So that's it for the presentation of these bets. If you liked the video and enjoy this type of content, leave a comment, even if you do not agree with my predictions. See you soon for more sports bets, guys. Take care.